Welcome to the distinguished annual event, the Queen Rania Teacher Academy Forum 2023. Under the theme Revitalizing the Learning Experience to Reignite Inspiration and Passion, we would like to thank you all for attending this forum and welcome you. Established in 2009, the Queen Rania Teacher Academy is a non-profit institution that embraces the vision of Her Majesty Queen Rania Al Abdullah to enhance the quality of education by empowering teachers with necessary skills. QRTA provides innovative and high-quality professional development programs in Jordan and the Arab world. QRTA effectively contributes to serving the education's community, reflecting its commitment to education development and enhancing educators' skills through a range of specialized initiatives. This includes opportunities for continuous learning and advanced training for teachers and school leaders. As part of these initiatives, QRTA hosts an annual forum, bringing together distinguished educators from around the world to exchange experiences and stimulate innovation in the field of education. This year, our forum stands out with dedicated workshops led by educators for educators. These workshops aim to enhance learners' knowledge and equip teachers with tools and skills to make the student learning experience more exciting and engaging. They also aim to provide students with means to explore the world, interact with international issues, and maintain a continuous curiosity for research and questioning. Before the start of today's workshop, we would like to remind you that you can obtain a certificate of attendance. We look forward to your participation in the feedback survey, which will be shared with you before the end of the workshop. Thank you for your cooperation and valuable presence, and please allow me to welcome Ms. Nadia Halabi, the co-founder and trainer in Eduvate, a professional development trainer institution, and she will be talking about promoting reading and writing skills through the Daily 5 framework. Ms. Rania, please, you can start.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure being part of this conference as well, promoting the love for reading and writing. I would love to start, as I'm introducing myself, I would like you as well to share with me who you are, where you're from on the chat, and what levels do you teach. As Mr. Shadi introduced here, my name is Nadia Halabi. I'm from Lebanon. I've been in the education field for more than 20 years. I'm specialized in English language and literature. I have a master's degree in I also have a master's degree specialized in secondary level in education from the American University in Dubai. And I have taught all grade levels from kindergarten to high school. So I have a great somehow idea and expertise in learning, teaching, and the learners and the teachers. I would love to start today with to share some insights about, I know it's just like a fraction or a segment of what our students need in classes. And based on experience, especially after COVID, we have identified a lot of the literacy issues and students' disengagement with the book and with the reading habit overall. I'm just here checking some of you from different parts of the region here. Thank you for joining, and I hope you would find some of the strategies I will be identifying or sharing with you here and modeling in this very brief period of time helpful. So let's get started here. Today's framework, I have already introduced it in a school I was teaching, and it is called the Daily 5 framework. And our objective today is to introduce what is the Daily 5 framework. It is basically to instill the behaviors of independence. It is to create a classroom of highly engaged readers and writers, And it is a framework where it provides teachers with a strategy to maximize students' reading and writing stamina. So it is a framework, as I've said, and it is integrated within any curriculum. It could be used within the American curriculum, it could be used within the IB curriculum, it could be used within any curriculum. And the purpose behind it are those two aspects. It is a combination of classroom management and curriculum. It developed daily habits of reading and writing, and to build stamina for reading and writing. And please let me correct me if I'm wrong. How many of you, please share as well, how many of you find difficulty keeping our kids, our learners, on task and engaged when it comes to reading and writing? I would have to say that this framework is basically developed for kindergarten to primary, up to maybe grade 6 or 7, I would say primary, but it could be modified and adapted to grade 6 and 7, or a little bit of the middle school. However, the strategies used are applicable across all grade levels. And so I want you to bear in mind that this is a framework designed for our especially early learners, K to primary. You can adapt it to middle school to develop a habit or routines of reading and writing, building stamina. So I have here the daily 5. It is, again, I'm going to highlight those points. It is an explicit teaching and it is the explicit teaching and the practicing of behaviors. So that set the daily 5 apart from the other management systems. So why is it called daily 5? It's called daily 5, again, because of the 5 literacy components, which should be integrated within, not discretely. That is read to self. We want our kids to be independently reading. We want them to, again, read to someone, listen to reading, and then work on writing and word work. Word work is the word study, the vocabulary and the phonics. So when within this framework, I am building those habits so we can develop readers and writers. And it is called, again, daily 5, one important element for the children to choose from when they go off to work, when they are set off to work independently. And just to clarify this framework, it is not called daily 5 because they have to do all 5 each day. It is impossible. So I'm just going to, before we set off and explain, like it's going to be divided into 2 parts. One part where we're talking about the habits and how to develop those routines, and the other segment, it is how we start teaching within the curriculum using strategies and techniques. But I'd like to pick your brain first, and I would like you to please scan the QR code and do the following. It is, how do you cultivate independence? How do you promote independence among your kids? Choose 1 or 2 words that describe your learners' current, now, like in your classes, your current learners' current behaviors or attitudes during reading and writing. I would like you to share to see if we have a common concern. Please scan the QR code and choose 1 to 2 words that describe your learners' current behaviors or attitudes during reading and writing. Then scan the QR code to add your choices on the word cloud. I will be sharing the word cloud, and we're going to see what is the dominant concern or common concern that we all have in classes whenever we ask our students to read and write. You may also want to share through chat. It's up to you. If you just scan the QR code, give me a thumbs up so I can show you the cloud as you are adding the words. Yes, I apologize. It's supposed to be showing, but I would love to hear from you again on chat. So fear, I have fear, boredom, easily distracted, lost and dependent. I agree. Unsure, demotivated. Jumana, I hats off for saying they're enjoying it. We're trying to push students to do that. Lack of focus, I agree. And okay. And frustrated. So yes, I agree. I'm so sorry it did not show, the word cloud did not show, but yes, boredom, definitely, hesitant, low attention, lack of motivation in boredom. This is, I would say, boredom. So let's move on from there. Yes. So here, what then, this is exactly what they are going through, and we're going to discuss how this framework will help them somehow go to the other side. On the other hand, what behaviors and attitudes do you expect learners to manifest during reading and writing? So based on that, again, on the chat, I'm sorry, before I share my ideas, we have discussed that they are bored, demotivated, disengaged, hesitant. I would like you again on the chat, please, to share what are the behaviors and attitudes do you expect learners to manifest during reading and writing? Oh, it's showing. Oh, thank you. Great. Here we go. Rahaf, thank you for sharing as well. And those are the 45 responses. Yes. So I have the word bored. Interact. So boredom is the biggest somehow description of what they go through: uninterested, distracted, not engaged. Excellent. Thank you, Raha, for sharing that. I want you again on chat, please. I know you're going to just go along with me here. Tell me, what attitudes and behaviors do you expect them? Do you expect them to show during reading and writing? Like your goal to show active readers and writers. What is the behavior and attitude you expected? So let me share some of your answers. Active, trying, showing, enjoying it, interactive, interested and engaged, being able to retell what they read, engaged, this is the key word, most of you, and interested. I agree. Love for literacy. Excellent. Great. So to have interest in learning and discussion with each other. So let's all agree at that point, we have, whenever it is English, an English period, which is expected, they have to read and write. We are doing all our best to keep them, I'm sharing your words, focused, independent, engaged, interested. They love what they do. So the framework is designed somehow to build those habits. And I just need to tell you, they might not have it, but it is our job to build those habits and routines through what we're going to be discussing. So the behaviors and attitudes are engagement, as you have mentioned, accountability. They're responsible for what they are doing. When they're on task, they're accountable. Choice, to have a choice what they read and write. Stamina. Stamina, again, the behaviors and attitudes is we're expecting them to read for as long as possible. How many of you would assign like 3-5 pages and you'd say done in 1 minute? So exactly, responsibility is the accountability. Intrinsic motivation, and this is the key word here. How are we going to build this intrinsic that comes without them, without telling them, I'm going to give you 5 points or +5 if you read from here to here. So those are the behaviors. Sorry, those are the behaviors and attitudes we expect to cultivate within our learners. So yes, we are all both on the same track. So let's see, what do we have to do? Now, the first step in the framework, before we actually start with the curriculum, which is teaching the main idea or retelling or writing genre, is actually to cultivate independence. We need to teach them to be independent, engaged, intrinsically motivated, and so on. And in the framework, those are the foundations and the values of Daily 5. Meaning, if you want them to be independent, motivated, engaged, and all of that, we need to build the following: trusting students, providing choice, nurturing community, creating a sense of urgency, like this is so important, that will determine your future, for example, building stamina, and staying out of students' way once routines are established. And the most important of all of that is consistent routine. It would be of no use if I trusted students one day and the other said, no, you have to do this or that, or I do not provide choice on constantly, or I do not build stamina constantly, or I do not hold them accountable constantly. So those are the foundations to build the framework. And once I have established that, I need to be consistent. Now, setting up the routines, defining structure reinforces independence. How many of you, again, please share, how many of you have created a structure for reading session or writing session? You can just give me a thumbs up or thumbs down on the chat. This will, again, it is very insightful to know that those simple details will make a big difference. So the daily 5 is the structure. How many of you have started or built a structure for reading and writing, and students are expected to follow, and and they know what are their do's and don'ts? Good. Okay. I would ask you later on, again, if you would be able to share what kind of structure this is. A special helping desk with reading strategy cards. Okay. This is the routine you said. Okay, very good. Okay, I need you to follow with me here and share with me if what you think of reading routines or literacy are those reading routines or literacy routines. To start with, when I say defining established routines, before I even start the reading strategies and techniques, I have establishing the routines help the classroom run more smoothly, support the reading and writing development, and nurture the desire to learn, the guided reading. Okay, I'm sorry, I need to ask one more question. How many of you provide choices for students to read and write? So I have Elena here saying writing, reading corner in the classroom with reading, writing tools and expectations. Excellent. Those are the expectations we need to share. How many of you are building stamina? How many of you are building a choice? How many of us, starting with me when I started this, do we give our students choices? So I need you to consider that as well as we are moving towards the framework. I just, like a side note, what I found out based on the research, one element that creates the intrinsic motivation is to give our students the choice in what they read. But I'm not just going to tell them go read without my guidance, and this is where it comes. What literacy routine strategies do you implement in your classroom? So there would be some mix up when I'm asking this question. So grades make them happy. And this is Raida Salman. This is sort of like an extrinsic motivation. We're going to be discussing how we can actually provide intrinsic motivation. Let me read here. Wafa, you said you use extra resources for reading. Those are excellent, yes. We have free writing sessions and free reading choices. We have guidance sessions and free choices. I want to comment on later on now on when we give the choices, how do we know that they are reading? I'm giving the choice, but how do I know that they're reading the right book for them? I want to give you the choice, but I want to know that you are reading the right book. And we will be discussing this in a few minutes. Fatima, this is something, again, we will be tackling here. When we say bonus points or extra points, I am extrinsically motivating them, but we are targeting the intrinsic motivation. Those are excellent suggestions and excellent resources, choices. But let's see again, to what extent should they go hand in hand with the framework here? We analyze reading the passage carefully and encouraging them in every step they achieved. Okay, differentiated strategies. Okay, great. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to be copying. I will just copy the link, the Padlet link. I will be copying a Padlet link in the chat. Please access it and share with me, okay? What literacy routines or strategies do you implement in your classroom? When I say literacy strategies and routines, to start with, you have given me, you have a structure like reading corners, writing sessions, and so on. I will be asking, or pair work, excellent. I will be asking now, because I'm going to be later joining the routines with the strategies and techniques. What literacy routines or strategies do you implement in your classroom? Name a few here. Name a few literacy routines and strategies you implement in your classroom. Access the Padlet thing from the chat and share your answers there. I will be sharing with you here the literacy routines Padlet. I will also be checking the chat should you choose this one. So we have differentiated instructions, strategies. Can you please name them? Group work. This is group work by games. Can you name again a specific game that is that promotes the literacy? Yes, sure. I'll be. Here you go. Competition, brainstorming, games, sort and post, KWL strategy, graphic organizers when writing drafts. Okay, sort, competition, games, you said pair work. Yes. So if mind map, question of the day. So those are the literacy routines to promote reading or writing, jigsaw. Okay. Okay, think, pair, share. Okay, let me make it more specific then. May I ask Scamper? I have Lamis Ayad. I have never heard of Scamper. Can you please tic-tac-toe, jigsaw? Yes, when I say let's start here, I don't have, for example, I don't have the time to share all reading and writing. I'm focusing on the reading. Can you share some reading strategies that you use to share, to promote the reading strategies? Peer work, make a competition, skimming, that's yes, Raida Salman, skimming, الأصابع الخمسة, okay, reading stamina, timed reading, scanning, okay, excellent, silence reading. Fine, I have not received anything on the Padlet here. I'm receiving most of the answers on the chat. Predicting, right book to read. Yes, great. Sabah, providing questions. Scamper for high achievers focuses on the critical thinking of the students. That's very insightful. That's very nice. I don't know what Scamper is, but I would be very much intrigued to look it up. Sabah, you said providing questions about the selection they are reading, then assigning groups to find answers from the story. Okay, excellent. All right. Bottom up and bottom down.
Can
Great.
I ask a quick question, please?
Yes, go ahead. Can I have your name, please?
Niraz Marabi. Please, are you talking here about structured reading or reading for leisure?
They apply to both, and that's a very good question. I'm talking about literacy strategies, reading strategies specifically here, okay? And they apply to both when they're reading for pleasure or reading for a task or assignment or academic purposes. So my point is, again here, how am I building? The idea is most of us do not come with this habit or love for reading, whether it is academic or for pleasure. How can we build that? So for the reading, this is what I'm going to be sharing here. I'll be moving forward here to share what I mean. Phase 1 in the framework, telling a story. Okay. To start with, in the reading framework, as I've said, the daily 5 starts with 5. And the first one to always start with is read to self. Whenever I introduce the daily 5 framework, I have to build it. My first one is to teach them how to read independently. The reading to self rotation is the core or the base for the rest of the rotations. It starts with, before I introduce the routine, those foundation lessons, we call them foundation lessons, before launching the strategy. Yes, and read words in an interactive way. Yelena, I work in the early years. We use a warm-up, review letter sounds, and read words in an interactive way. Great. Reading books, group work, one-to-one sessions, pair, partner reading. I have excellent strategies shared. Even I wasn't familiar with a few. I would love to learn more about those. But now let me share my strategies here. Before I set off or introduce the structure, which is read to self, to my kids, I will be teaching them some strategies. Those are the reading strategies. 3 ways I will share. I will share with you like 3 steps, 3 ways to do that. These lessons are 3 ways to read a book. It is actually a reading strategy, and this helps and motivates our shy learners, which you have identified, or our hesitant learners. As you can see, especially after COVID, a lot have a literacy gap. We would find a lot of our grade 5 students, for example, who are at the grade 1 level, but they're in grade 5. You would see a lot of our students who are in grade 4, but they are in the kindergarten level. And this is due, as I've said, to the literacy gap created after the COVID. And they are in our classes, and they're inclusive, and we need to teach them. One strategy, I encourage, motivate our readers to tell them that, yes, that even though you might be in grade 2, grade 1, grade 4, you can still read. The first way is 3 ways to read a book. I pick a good fit book, choose a successful spot. Before I tell them, go ahead and read on your own, I have to teach them those. The first one is, as I've said, 3 ways to read a book. What's the first way? And this is I found that as I was like teaching even grade 4, I found that it motivated those shy readers that they can be part of the reading, part of the discussion when the teacher asks questions. It's a powerful lesson for students who are not yet readers and for those who are new to English, be it in kindergarten or be it in grade 5 or 6. We have those kids. What's the first one? It is read the pictures. Sorry. It is, with them, I always, by the way, show pictures. Read the pictures, read the words, and then retell the story. When I tell our students, now it's time for you to read, now it's time for you to read, they have more than one way to read and share with me when I ask questions. Who is the story about? What is happening? Can you tell me what happens next? Some who are finding difficulty reading the words, they can share their answers by skimming through the pictures, get an idea about the book, story, and text. And we all know when it comes to language, the oral or verbal part comes first before the reading. So yes, they could not read it, but they can look at the picture and verbally share with us what is happening in the story. It is motivating them. So I have here, read the words. Then the next step, if they cannot read all the words, I know some of them can spot some of the words and they will be matching the picture to the words. And some will be now reading and connecting the image to the picture. Begin reading, and those are the instructions. Use the reading strategies I learned to understand what I'm reading. I give them those instructions. Those are the instructions I give. In the Daily 5 framework, I need to note this, that the explicit instructions, telling them step 1, step 2, step 3, and I model, and then they do it, is key to success. And then they retell the story. Then I give them time to retell the story. We will be practicing this together. I will be modeling it. So we have here, this is, yes, I give them then, yes, and this, then I show them, I model as a teacher, I'm going to show them. I want you to read the story you have in hand and use the 3 ways to read a book. And some of them would simply just look and skim the pictures, skim through the pictures, get an idea about the book or story. Then the next step, I would tell them, read the words. They begin reading, and I will be talking about using a strategy I have taught them. Okay, so they start reading. Julia and her family waited to get into the stadium. Surprisingly, some of them did not read, were not able to read some of those words, but the pictures can guide them and give them an idea. Third, and this is the idea, now I want you to retell the story. So they say, when I finish reading, I answer questions that help me retell the information. Retell, look at the pictures, match the words if you can, and then retell the stories. Okay, so this is one way I will be encouraging the students, the shy ones, those who might find difficulty, and then they'd be encouraged to, okay, now I know what is happening. Let me try to read the words. And this is where another strategy comes in hand. So if I may ask here, just out of question, like a quick check here, what do I call the strategy? So if I want to start introducing reading, I would start introducing my learners to a reading strategy called what? Can you please write it down on the chat? This is now the teacher personality coming out.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, of course. Can I have your name, please?
Rima Nasser. Usually when we start, our reading, especially if it's a small paragraph, we start with learning the vocabulary words.
Yes.
We introduce the vocabulary words. My question is that when we want to introduce, usually I put in a sentence and I have the vocabulary words, and from the sentence we try to elaborate what do they understand and what's the meaning of this word. Is it good also to put a picture during this time at the beginning, or it is not good to have the picture with it?
100%. To start with, that's why I said this framework is dedicated for early years and primary up to mid years, middle school. So with this phase, you have to always accompany a picture, especially because English is not their first language. You have to always accompany pictures or visuals with the word. Yes, that will
and
again.
then later we'll take it, and then later when they are learning the word and what does it mean, we will take the picture out when they are.
No need to. Because no need to. Actually, to make, again, you want the learning to stick. The more they're exposed to those visuals, the more they remind them, they can recollect them from their memory.
Okay.
So vocabulary is, again, and even the keywords, this is something we've been doing for so long. Expose the word itself with the picture always in front of them, like the word wall. We call it the word wall.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, welcome. And one more tip, always incorporate, because again, it's the reading. Always incorporate the word that you're teaching within the reading. So there's the image, read what you see, read, and then the context, the reading, and the word itself.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Now, so yes, thank you for those who responded. So 3 ways to read a book. I would guarantee that even those, and I would encourage that, yes, even those who cannot read the words, you can also read the pictures, because reading the pictures is literacy as well. Now, moving to the second step, again, when some of you said choice, I'm going to be moving to this idea now. I'm going back, I'm sorry. When we said choice plays a very important role in creating motivation and engagement. But again, I don't want to set them for failure. I want to set them to success. So what do I do that? I need to teach them how to pick a book. So this is another strategy, and you can start that beginning of term 2. You can start that in the beginning of the year. Beginning of the year is, sorry, teach them a strategy. Sorry. Okay, so I'm sorry. Yeah, so you're teach them a strategy again to set them for success, which is again how to pick the right book. So the moment students are given choice, I can guarantee you, like, I am the master of my own destiny. I can read and I can choose a book, but I need them to know how to choose a book. So Rasha, for KG, we start the right book strategy after the mid of the year. I believe, Rasha, for KG even, yes, yeah, you can start it even in the beginning of the year. You can start it in the beginning of the year. So I don't know if this is already a familiar strategy. Share with us whatever insights you have and experiences.
Hi, Nadia. May I share my thoughts?
Yes, of course. Is this Rasha?
Yes, it's me, Rasha. So about the choosing the right book strategy, why we started for KG at the middle of the year, because according to the right level for students to read for KG, according to Fontes and Benel and the DRA reading levels, it says that students will start the level A reading after 9 months to 12 months of starting teaching how to read. So according to, after spending, let's say 9, like last year we started after 13 weeks of teaching. This year I started after 9 weeks of teaching to use the using book, because before that I need to focus more on the reading concept, the concept of reading, how to start from the beginning of the from left to right, how to move from line to line, how to read, to make sure they know all of the letters. And after that, how to take care of the book.
Perfect.
Before you start how to choose the right book, because as you know, if you want them to choose the right book, you want them to be exposed to choose from a classroom library. If
Yes,
this is the option, they should go through the process from the beginning.
Okay, may I share my insight? No, what you've said is amazing and it's correct, 100%. And this is where I want to integrate what I said about the Daily 5 framework. The Daily 5 framework, it's like the structure of routines and habits, which I can incorporate in the curriculum. What you have described as Fentis and Pinnell, and it's like the curriculum. You're telling me what the curriculum expects us to achieve within this grade level. I agree. But my point is, even with, I'm not expecting them to read words because not yet maybe, but I can, as I said, show them to choose the right book based on pictures. I can choose based on pictures, based on words if they can spot them. And this might not be successful with all, but that's the point. I'm not going to be letting that very few hinder the rest. I can expose them to all. And when I say choice, let them pick the right book. Book is of interest. Let me share this, for example, here. I can take them to the library. I can display the book levels they can choose among. And it doesn't have to necessarily be only about words. It could be about interest. For example, the I pick stands for I choose a book. Why do I want to read it? You're teaching about vegetables, for example. You tell them, go choose a book. And they might choose a book about about whatever that is, about trains, about airplanes, about vegetables. So we tell them purpose. Again, KG, it varies among levels, and maybe it varies among the time period that you need to introduce it. But interest, does it interest me? I want to show them that you might choose a book now. I looked it up. I looked at the picture. I'm not interested. May I choose another one? Yes, go ahead. So this is like the reading, promoting the reading for pleasure and the reading for academic.
Yes.
And then comprehend. Am I understanding what I'm reading? This is the part maybe towards the second term, but you've already introduced the strategy and they're already part of it. Like it's embedded or integrated, building the routines and consistency. This is again what I was saying in the beginning. So am I understanding what I'm reading? Maybe this part goes towards the middle. With others, you have very advanced readers even in kindergarten. This applies to them in the beginning of the year. And do I know most of the words? I would say this is for for primary, middle school. So when I ask them to head to the library, I would encourage them. Yes, this is a way to read it. Like you ask yourself, does it serve the purpose? I want to read for research, for example. I want to read because I'm going to write a paper about the COP28. Okay, this is the topic today. Do I understand what I'm reading? Do I know most of the words? This is sort of like a checklist for the kids to understand. I have picked the right book. And then I set them off to read. Even when you said the reading corners, I'm providing them with choices. I keep on reminding them and I give them this instruction, explicit instruction. Use the I pick strategy to choose the book that suits you when you're reading. And then when you get to them, when you ask them questions, when you, as a whole class or individual or in conferences, okay, you would be asking them, why did you choose this book? Do you know most of the words? Okay, read some of them. And then you ask a few questions. So again, consistency is the key. I have here Jumana saying in preschool, all strategies are different because kids' abilities are somehow different. We start with reading pictures, then words, then letters through words. So my point is, even with the kindergarten, what I want to encourage you to do, to embed or let the curriculum go hand in hand with the reading and writing routines. You can teach the kid in term to what needs to be taught, but at the same time, you can teach them that I can pick a right book for me based on interest, based on choice, based on pictures, based on words. Okay. Yes, I believe reading and writing should be taught, Yelena, together. Even picture books are the greatest options for early readers. Believe me, even the picture books are greatest option, even for grades 8 and 9, believe me. Okay, this is again to show them that you can reading or retelling or understanding what you see or read is literacy. Okay, having said that, after I have established the I pick strategy and 3 ways to read a book, I need to now set the routine and structure. This is where it goes. I'm sorry here. Yes, this is where it goes. Phase 2, so before I set the first, as I've said, daily 5 routine, which is read to self, I set the expectations and the routines of reading. Now I need to set off or launch the structure. There are 10 steps to do that. This is the key element. This is the routine. The framework can be adopted, can be adapted, can be modified based on your routines and structures in class. So when I say that daily 5, you can take it as is. There's nothing carved in stone. You can modify, remodel as you fit needed to promote the love for reading among your kids. So here in the daily 5, before leaving, setting off the kids to read to self independently, those are 10 steps I need to follow. First off, I already have like create a T chart, or we call it I chart for kids to know that independent, how to become independent readers. I say create beforehand or complete with students this T chart that you see in front of you. It is read to self, independence. Why? To become a better reader. I explain to the students the sense of urgency. Why do I need to read to myself? You need to become a better reader. And for that, and it is fun. So here, what you need to do, you can, older students, when I say older students, it means like grades 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, they can help you document it. For the early stage, you can already have it ready and hang up somewhere in the room where students can refer to. This is why I said about the vocabulary, whatever is displayed and constantly referred to is a constant reminder for students to follow these routines. If you're not consistent on daily basis with those routines, students will forget and will break the habit. So what do I have here? 1, set a purpose, create a sense of urgency. Like, why do I need to be reading to myself? To become a better reader, to become a better thinker, a better leader. You create this among your kids. Identify the behaviors of read to self. When I say identify the behaviors, and for early years, I would recommend you do that. And again, I would continuously say consistent, be consistent. Identify the behaviors of read to self. Instead of saying don't, okay, show students the exact behaviors you want to see. And I will return to that. Quiet whisper, those are the exact behaviors you want to see. And it will be a fun part for the kids to actually, for the teacher to show them how to read. I will be reading a book right now and I'm not going to move. This is my spot. I'm going to be reading the whole time. You set the timer you have according to the age of their grade 4. You have, for example, and they're 8 years old, 8 minutes nonstop to read the whole time in one stop, and pick a spot you want to, you won't talk, eyes on the book, good fit books. You choose the good fit book and build stamina. When I say build stamina, you have to be conscious that you have 8 minutes. The timer is there. You have to read nonstop 8 minutes. Those 8 minutes will be added on daily basis or weekly basis if they have achieved this goal. Yes, purposeful reading, Rowan. Yes, I agree. And then I have here, going back, identify the behaviors of the read to self. Model. I would love, this is the fun part for teachers and students. And as I said, it's in the beginning of the year. When I say model 4, 5, well, I call it the 3D model. Why do I call 3D model? And students love that. Model the most desirable behaviors. Take your time to do that. Meaning, show me. I will be modeling for my kids. I am reading a book. I will model eyes on the book, whispering. I choose my spot. I will be modeling this. Then step 5, model the least desirable, then most desirable. That's why I call it 4 and 5, the 3D. Model least desirable, showing them. I'm reading the book, for example, like that. I'm sitting like this. I'm talking to a friend. I want to show them the good behavior, show them again, not tell them, and show them the most desirable again. Students will love this part. Younger students focus on desirable. Step 6, place students around the room. Again, here, this is a trial. I'm going to tell you in the beginning, it's going to be chaotic. It's going to be a disaster. But if you want to invest in it and be consistent, it's worth your time and effort. Place students around the room. Again, depending on your classroom setting. Number 6, it all depends on your classroom setting. If you have spacious setting or environment, tell them choose a spot, and that will be your spot throughout the year where you'll be reading to yourself, following the behaviors. And yes, I have telling about the reflection about the reading. We're going to get to that. Yes, we're going to get to that. And then we have play, practice, and build stamina. So we tell them, it's all timed, by the way. The read to self, they will be having, for example, 10 minutes to read to self. They do have a purpose. I will be telling them read to self, and I will be giving them instructions that will follow in the next few slides. And then I'll be telling them, this is your stamina chart. I will show it to you in a later slide as well, that we need to achieve. You are in grade 4, 8 years. So it means you have to read a minimum of 8 minutes nonstop. Okay. And then
Can we go back to the chart before just to see it, please?
which chart? This one? Yes. Yes. Okay.
And the one that follows, just the
Yes, I will share it with you. I forgot to tell you that this is again where we're promoting the independence. Like, they are constantly dependent. During this framework, we're telling them what they're supposed to be doing, but in the T chart, thank you for making me go back, I need to tell them what the teacher will be doing. In this time, after I have explained the lesson, the mini lesson, and I tell them now it's time to read to self, the teacher too has a job, and the teacher will be working with the groups of students. This is where, for example, I'll be getting a group of 3-4 students, depending on who I want, why I want them for, and I ask them to read. I ask them questions based on the lesson. The lesson is main ideas. I ask them questions about the main ideas. And I ask them, what strategy did you use? Is this your right book? How do I know that this is the right book? And he should be telling me, I can read most of the words, I use the strategies, I use this and that. And the teacher will be listen to children read and help students with reading. To continue, yes, this is this the slide you wanted as well?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Fatma, yes, you will have a certificate at the end. Yes. Okay. And here, just out of that, yes, after, again, why is the reading? Why are we emphasizing in the reading? And if you paid attention that daily 5 is like read to self, read to someone, listen to reading, okay? Why are we emphasizing reading? And in the chat, somebody said reading and writing come together, 100%. In the daily 5, they are not expected, like they have to commit it, so the rotation. The rotation could be in per class, depending on the period. They could be students selecting, today I'm going to be reading to someone. I would be read to self, read to someone, and write. Okay. The next day, the other 2 parts. This has another structure. Hopefully in another conference, I'd be talking about that as well. But for now, again, why am I emphasizing reading and building stamina? This is again a study made how much students read and how it influences achievement. This is for all our benchmark assessments or standardized assessments. The more we expose students to reading, to words, the better test takers they become. And I have to use the test takers, but they do. Here, this is an example, for example, middle class 5th graders plus 10 minutes per day. So here I have a class grade 5 reader who reads 4.6 minutes per day per year acquires 282,000 words. If I added 10 minutes to this reading, okay, 10 minutes, he will be acquiring per year 895,43,000. And the increase, and this is very important, and the increase in word exposure is 217%. So this is the importance of the more I'm exposed to words, the more I'm exposed to the number of minutes I'm reading, the better reader, writer, communicator, a critical thinker I become. Yes, may you share a good resource for the reading stamina? For the reading stamina, I'm going to share a chart with you. Is this the minute depending on the capability of students? Not basic. I'm sorry, I didn't get your question. This is just like a sample of a grade 5 reader. To be honest, again, not to be honest, in all the research done, the starting point of all readers, it depends, like the minimum time or minimum minutes they have to read is according to their age. This is according again to the study made in the daily 5 structure. So my question here, for example, is if your students are in grade 5 and they should be reading a minimum of 10 minutes. If they are in grade 6, they would be 11 minutes and so on. This is the minimum, but we want to expose them to the most. And if they start with, because they're not avid readers and they did not build the habit of reading yet, if they read for 4 minutes, they're only exposed to 282 per year, which is not the level of the middle class 5th grader. Okay, so this is how it is calculated or researched. Now, the building stamina, based on somebody's request here, it is like exercising. We need to tell them that every time we're leaving them to independently read, they are to be building stamina. We need to emphasize this like in an analogy, a similarity or a comparison. It takes time and effort to improve your abilities. If we expect a child with no stamina for or the lack of ability to do, they are doomed to frustration and failure. What do I mean by that? And this is again, do we apply it individually or for grade level? Rasha, I'm sorry, what do you mean by individually?
I mean the reading, sorry again. The reading stamina, like how to track it? Do I track it for individual students or for example,
no,
for third
class,
grade students or
like
second?
class.
Sorry.
That's a very good question, actually. Let me, I'll share with you right now. This again depends on how you want to. You can start it as a whole class, and then you can do it individually for their individual like accountability. I'll explain how. So my point I wanted to emphasize here, again, the building the habit or routine. How many of us, again, we know that we are not giving them techniques, we're not giving them strategy, we're not training them to build the stamina. And then I tell them out of the blue, you have 10 minutes to read like 5-6 pages. How many of our students do they actually read those 5-10 pages? How many of them have the stamina, as you said, bored to do that? They don't read. So because I did not teach them to build that stamina or to teach them or give them techniques to do that. So how do we do that? And this is where I'll answer your question. This is called a read to self stamina. Usually, and it shows here, I would be changing it on a weekly basis, day 1, day 3, day whatever that is, or bi-weekly, or you decide. And I show here the number of minutes they have read. I would start it as I'm building or introducing this read to self and giving them the foundation lessons in the beginning. This is what I meant by foundation lessons. I cannot tell them go ahead and read without telling them you can read in 3 ways: the pictures, the words, and retell the story. And I can tell them you can pick the right book to do that. And then later I'm going to share with you another strategy to help them read, to continue reading. If I do not give them those strategies and I tell them go ahead and read for 10 minutes, I am setting them for failure. So when I introduce those foundation lessons first, and then I introduce or I give them I tell them, now let's start with the stamina because we need to practice. I might start with a whole class. I show them, go ahead. You have 5, let's start with 3 minutes because they're not used to it. I want to set them for success first. So grade 5, I would say, they're supposed to be reading for 10 minutes. They're supposed to be reading for 10 minutes, but they can't. So I'm going to tell them, let's start with 3 minutes or 4 minutes. As a whole class, I want to see you using those strategies, and let's see, I time it. If as a whole class, they achieve this for 3 minutes, I start coloring up to 3 minutes here. And then, excellent job. I think we're going to try next. If they did not achieve 3 minutes, I do not color it. We're going to tell them, we're going to try again, maybe tomorrow. So my target would be for a week, maybe 3 minutes. If they achieve the 3 minutes, you celebrate their success. You've done a great job. You get them the dojo points, whatever engaging application you have. And then let's now try 5 minutes. It might take 5, it might take, well, another week. It doesn't matter, but this is how I'm building it. Until they get used to, and the younger they are, I'm telling you, the easier it is for them to get used to these routines. Okay. And then this is an effective way to visually display. Yes, so this is it. And to answer your question, after you have established this routine, Rasha, you can print out this document and give it to them as a reading log. For my students today, I am a teacher as well and a head of department, I know the value of this technique. I have printed out a reading log and I told them, what are you reading, how many minutes, and sign it. Or I can tell them, you go ahead and shade the number of minutes you have read every day. It's up to you. Welcome. So after I did that, I'm again the importance of building the routines and habits. I now move to another strategy here. Another strategy, which is check for understanding. Okay. So this is a reading strategy I can incorporate as with those 3 foundation lessons or later, because I don't want to overwhelm them, okay? And I need to remind you, all the strategies I'm teaching, or I'm sharing with you, again, the teacher personality here, all the strategies I am sharing with you, they are incorporated or embedded within the curriculum or the standards or the you're teaching, be it IB, be it British, be it American, you name it. Mariam, you're saying we use stamina charts in DEAR sessions. I agree. Drop everything and read. Yes, that's what I said by whatever the framework can be adopted and adapted to meet your structures. You can incorporate a lot of the daily 5 within your structure. Drop everything and read. Students love it. Yes, it's a great way to also, it's a great way to do that. I would recommend, Mariam, if they don't know, I want you to like involve them in your target or goals. You want to develop readers, tell them, I want you to develop stamina. I want the kids to use those words as well. Maisa, WH questions to check the understanding. Is it good? Maisa, could you please elaborate on that question? When you said WH questions to check the... Yes, of course, definitely, Rasha, definitely. Okay, until you clarify, if you, Maisa, yeah, Maisa, what, where, when? Yes, let me specify what, where, when. Yes, it is exactly, it is, yes. To check them, is it good? Yes, it is. I'll show you how, and I'm applying it now with my students who are struggling readers. They have a huge literacy gap. I can't imagine, or I can't describe how effective it was. I've been using it for 2 months, not focusing on anything but it. You can incorporate 2 reading strategies, but I cannot describe how effective it is. Let me share this with whoever does not know how I use it. Yes, to start with, again, I need to remind you who your audience is, but I need to tell you, no matter who our audience is in this age, if we don't have visuals or hands-on, especially for our early years, mid-school, primary and middle, it will be easily forgotten. So just a piece of advice from someone who's been throughout education across levels, do not take it for granted, do not take it for granted that our kids remember or know. They have to be constantly reminded. So here, I need to share what is the check for understanding. I use check for understanding strategy to help me retell the story. This is the part where I introduced in the beginning when I said like 3 ways to read a story. You do not incorporate it within, but I can refer back to it when I say that you have 3 ways to read the story, the retelling part. In the retelling part, you can use the check for understanding strategy. It is a comprehension strategy that teaches readers to stop frequently and check and monitor. This is very important. This is very important, whether they understand, yes, readers to stop frequently and check or monitor whether they understand what they're reading. This typically involves a quick summary of what they've read, starting with who and what. You can add the when, but to me, it is the who and what. I only ask them. I even drew it with the erasable markers on their windows. Check for understanding. And this, I carry it with them. They carry it with them whenever they read. Like whenever they are asked them to go read for read to self session for 10 minutes independently, I ask them, carry your, I even drew that, carry your check, which is who is the story about, what happened. They need to stop. Why do I say that? Some read and zone out. This is a quick reminder, read for check for understanding. For our older primary kids and middle school, I ask them on a sticky note, Write briefly who the story is about. It is about Emily. And what happened to Emily in this page? She went to Brazil to watch the Olympics. That's it. So when do I do that? I model it for them. It's very important to model, as I've said. It is important to show them that sometimes when I'm reading, I zone out. Okay, something happened. Let me go back. What has happened? Who is it about? If I zoned out, I lost it, I should go back and read. So the typical involves a quick summary of what they've read, starting with who and what. So why we teach it? To help readers remember and understand what they're reading, to use a fix-up strategy when meaning breaks down. So I'm telling you that, those steps, why we teach it, because I want you as a teacher to model it to them, like literally play the role. We teachers are like actors. We have to act out like what happens to them. They can connect and relate. Stop frequently, secret to success, stop frequently and think about what is happening. Have a conversation in your head. Who is it about and what has happened? And ask who is this about and what is happening. How we teach it, we're running out of time. I just need to share this with you. How we teach it is you model. Yes, sorry, here. How we teach it, you model during the read aloud, like you're reading. We stop periodically and say, let me see if I remember what I just read. I'm going to start by thinking of who the story is about and what happened. You literally just share your thinking, the metacognition, and this is what we need them to learn and to show us. We continue to stop periodically and talk through the who and what, usually about 3 or 4 times during each read aloud. So I'm telling you, during the read aloud, you need to display that for 3 or 4 times and then ask them to do it. After 2 or 3 times of modeling this for students, we start asking them to answer the who and the what through listen and talk with each other, the turn and talk or elbow buddies, and then expect children to do it on their own. When I confer with them, this is when I ask them to read itself 10 minutes, now apply the strategies, and I need to be monitoring them as well. And this is basically the check for understanding strategy. And as a wrap up, just to wrap up what the whole session was about, as I've said, the daily framework, it requires like a lot of sessions, a lot of meeting or like a lot of sessions to share everything I know. But I just wanted to share a fragment of the most important piece of what it is about and how we can do it to promote the love for reading. So the Daily 5 is simple but powerful structure that it enables teachers to spend less time on classroom management and more time teaching because you're building the routines and habits. It helps students develop independence, stamina, and accountability. This is what we are somehow hoping our students would become, and the routines and habits would help us through the Daily 5. And it provides students with an abundant amount of time for practicing reading and writing. So this is a wrap up. And before I ask your questions and answers, in the chat, if you can please take the link, it's access the link and fill in the survey. It would be of a great help to us to see how we can make more room or time for educational interaction and sharing best practices. After that, please first access the link. And after that, if you have any question and answer, please do let me know. I just like to add something to all of you. I know that most of you maybe are English teachers. Give me, I don't know, just disable chat, but just in case you're not, I would like to tell you that when we say literacy, literacy can be in any content area, math, English, science, whatever that is. The techniques that you're promoting are applicable in, or routines you are, I'm sharing, applicable in different content areas across grade levels. This is to actually to help us create consistency across content areas. Nermeen, the 3 reading steps will be extremely effective in pulling out system for struggling readers in my school. Yeah, I agree, Nermeen. How could we strengthen reading skills with integrated skills with other subjects? That's a very good question, Mr. Munir. Hopefully there would be another. I would just tell you that the check for reading, just to give an idea, the check for reading strategies, if you're teaching math or science, I would say, social studies, Arabic, even in Arabic, it is applicable across, even in math, by the way, where there is problem solving. The check for understanding is like, what is it that they're asking? Who is this problem about? What is it they're asking me to do? This summary, this process of thinking and establishing the steps is an effective way. Okay, so it was nice talking to most of you, a lot of you through chat, and it was nice seeing this community here. And hopefully we meet again to grow this the best practices sharing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nadia.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nadia Halabi. In conclusion of this special workshop at the Queen Rania Teacher Academy for Teacher Training 2023, we would like to express our deep thanks to the presenter, Ms. Nadia Halabi, and to all of you for your effective and inspiring participation. We hope that this workshop has added value to your ideas and educational skills. We remind you that you will receive your certificate of attendance by email, and we urge you to fill out the feedback survey, which will help us improve and develop our future experiences. We look forward to seeing you at QRTA's future events. Thank you so much.